to access the data. And then we also added one IP address for my own client for my laptop, so that I could access it using the query editor or using, of course, other tools such as SQL Server Management Studio, Azure Data Studio, etc. So firewalls, very important. If you feel that the firewall at the database and at the server level are not enough, you can also secure your virtual network. For example, with network security groups, with other firewalls, and so you can have really a layered approach to security. Azure Active Directory, super important. Okay, right now we are using a SQL login with username and password, but why not use Azure Active Directory instead? And why not give an identity to your applications and allow them to access other services? Or maybe you also want to have role-based access control for access to the management of your database. So this is really also a good place to go. And finally, advanced data security. I showed you quickly how you can configure it. It's going to run all the time. It's going to check your data. It's going to warn you if something is bad, and it's going to give you peace of mind. Performance of your queries, all right, this is something that you can totally optimize using our tools. And of course, queries are what takes a long time in your data, okay, in the handling of your data. The application is going to access the data, and here you have access, you have an insight into DTU consumption. This is important because at the end, this is what you're going to pay, all right? But also things like CPU usage, the duration of a query, and how many times a query is executed. And for example, you can say, all right, I want to optimize the queries that last the longer, or I want to optimize the queries that are called the most often, right? Something like that. You can really totally drill into the details, get more information about what's taking a long time. And we're also going to give you some recommendations on how you can actually accelerate those queries, how you can make them run faster. And if you choose to do so, we can even do some of the work automatically for you. So this is the address where you can get more information about the SQL Query Performance Analyzer. And really, I recommend that you look into it because it's a great way to make your customers happy. Also, some information about SQL tuning your database, tuning your SQL Server for more performance. As for cost, of course, this is super interesting for you because this is what you're going to do to pay less. And here we have the Azure Cost Management Center. Now, this is going to give you always a breakdown of what your spending is at the moment, and also an estimation of your spending for the coming few days until the end of the month. So it's a good place to spend some time. We are also going to give you some recommendation on how you can optimize your spendings into the cloud. And by the way, I'm not sure if you know already, but if you don't know about it, if you have SQL Server licenses for your on-premise servers, you can actually leverage those in the cloud. This is what we call the Azure Hybrid benefit. And you also have Azure Reserved instances, which are going to give you more flexibility on how you utilize your resources, and also which are going to save you quite a lot of money. So definitely interesting to check. This is going, of course, to bring more value to your application on the long term. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about is the type of storage, all right? Because you have different type of storage, you have different data solutions on Azure. So we talked already about structured data, relational data. For example, the product description, all right? You have different tables, and those tables have relations, and this is great for SQL. But maybe you have what I would call some semi-structured data. And for example, think about the shopping cart. Shopping carts are very simple to use, all right? You have one object where you have all the data, and then you want to pretty much serialize this object to storage, and you want this to go as fast as possible with as much security as possible, and possibly even be replicated worldwide. Like this, you will have a faster write access to the shopping cart. So this is a good use case for Cosmos DB. But you also have another type of data, and this is the unstructured data, okay? The blobs, what we call blobs, binary large objects. And here, that could be pictures, videos, PDF, any type of binary files, really. And for this, we also have solutions, and this is Azure Storage. So let's go into Azure Storage services. We have quite a lot of services. Some of them, I would say, are closer to infrastructure as a service, things like disks, all right? Your virtual machines need disks, and here we have the possibility to manage them. You have HDDs, SSDs, etc. But you also have files, and files can be interesting for a legacy scenario